are going to perform a fitness assessment to my trainee, Roshan Incipido, and we are going to start with a static postural assessment. The first view for the static postural assessment will be the lateral view. The client will need to stand straight, your hands on the side, open feet, like so. So I will give you the instructions. So for this assessment, you will just need to stand straight, and I will observe your movements in the body, okay? Okay, so we're gonna start the assessment with the first kinetic checkpoint, which is the head. So we're gonna observe for forward head, so we're gonna observe from the side. You can see that she is slightly forward head on the right side. And the left side. For the next kinetic chain checkpoint, we're gonna observe the shoulder. So her shoulder shows that it's a bit retracted, as you can see here, in the left and in the right side. For the next kinetic checkpoint, it's the lumbopelvic hip. So you can see that it is slightly anteriorly tilted, like this in her hip. So we're gonna check the left side and the right side. We're gonna check it. Now that we have finished with the lateral view, we are going to proceed with the anterior view. The first kinetic checkpoint will be the knees. I will stay in front so that we can observe the knees of the client. So for the knees, it's either adducted or abducted. So we can see that the knees of the client is adducted in the right side as well as the left side. We are also going to check for the knees if it is internally or externally rotated. We can see that the client has very slightly externally rotated and the feet. And the balls of the feet are flat. Now that we have finished with the static postural assessment, we are going to continue with the dynamic postural assessment overhead squat. So first, we're going to instruct our client to perform the overhead squat. So please perform the squat and raise your hand like so. So we're gonna start with the feet. So we see that the feet is turned out. And next, the knees. The knees are moving outward for the right and left side. For the lumbopelvic hip, it does not show excessive lean and it has low back arches. For the feet, the heels are not raised and the foot are flat. And for the last kinetic checkpoint for the posterior is the shoulder and the lumbopelvic hip. We see that it is not asymmetrical, it is balanced, and the shoulders are not elevated. Okay, you can stop now. Now that we have finished the dynamic postural assessment, we are going to continue with the anthropometry girth measurement. So I'm going to use this tape measure, and we are going to follow the unit of inches, and we are going to start with the chest. So I'm going to measure your chest. Please raise your arms. Raise your arms again. So I'm going to measure the chest near the nipple, 36. We are going to measure the circumference of the upper right arm. So this is the upper right arm of the client. I'm going to measure the circumference. Not too tight, not too loose. So it is 11 inches. For the forearm, for the right forearm, this, we're going to measure the circumference in the biggest part of the forearm. So it is 9 inches. Now we are going to measure the waist. The waist is the smallest circumference here, so about here. So please raise your hand. So the waist of the client is 29.5 inches. And the hips of the client is the biggest part. So please raise your hand. So the hips is 36.5 inches. For the right thigh, we're gonna measure 10 inches from the knees, and we're gonna measure the circumference. So here. So the measurement will be 22 inches. And for the last part, we are going to measure the right calf. The right calf is the biggest part of the knee, right here. So it will be 14 inches. After the measurements, we are going to proceed with the partial curl up assessment and the step up assessment. Now, we are going to start with the partial curl up assessment. We are going to need a tape measure and tape in order to mark for the partial curl up. Now that we have finished marking 4 inches, we are going to start with the partial curl up. The client will have to perform the partial curl up as much as he can. Then we are going to assess it. So 1, 2, 3. Overall total of the partial curl up for the trainee is 40 reps. Now we are going to proceed with the step test. First, I will use a tape measure to measure 12 inches. Now that we have measured 12 inches, we're gonna let our client stand here and perform the step test for 3 minutes. And we are going to follow the video for the beat.